good start for you, but otherwise go ahead and set yourself up standing. And just feel free, I'm going to speak as loudly as I can, but since I'm away from the laptop without a headset, just interrupt or type in the chat if you cannot hear me. And so we'll start in Tadasana. So you can find a way to plant your feet and bring the outer edges of the feet parallel. If that feels okay for your joints, if the toes need to point out a little bit for your knees to feel struggle-free, make that an adaptation. And begin to get a sense of your vertical axis. So this place, crown to base of spine. You can give the arms a shake and find out where you can just, sometimes we try to hike our shoulders back and down. Just if the shoulders are pronated a bit forward, find the most struggle-free place for your shoulders. And begin to allow your attention to go into the tripod of the foot. Welcome, April. And what that is, it's 3 points on the foot. So the first is the entirety of the heel point. So the whole of the heel is the base of that tripod. So begin almost like you're trying to put a dent in the ground, let some weight core kick into that point. And just notice if you feel a bit uprooted or rooted there. And then begin to come to the base of the big toe. Same thing, just get some information. Send your focused breathing, so place your mind into the base of the big toe, and then like you're trying to make a dent in your mat, press down and then soften. And then come to the pinky toe side of the foot, and then the same thing, place your mind into that section of your foot as you take a soft, wide, nourishing breath. Exhaling through the mouth to move out any tension that needs to go. And the intent that we're going to work with today is building the warrior's heart. And this is present in Forrest yoga. It's often in many of the more yang traditions of yoga, and I'll talk about it as I've learned it in Forrest yoga. If you like, please place one hand to the sternum and either place the other hand on top, or you can place one hand to back of heart. See what feels better. And so this belief in these practices that we can actually factually heal the cracks, the pains, the entirety of what is held in the heart through learning to breathe, learning to feel, learning to move in a high quality way. And so just taking some time here to work with the breath of equal hold. So it's going to be unique for everyone. You're going to inhale till you're full. Pause for your level of comfort. Exhale. And then pause at the bottom of the breath for your level of comfort. So I'll talk us through that again. Inhaling a soft, wide breath. Hold the breath for your comfort. If it's not comfortable, skip it. And then when you're ready, exhale everything out slowly. It's not an Uddiyana. And then pause at the bottom, all the breath out, and then inhale. We'll take about 5 rounds of this at your own pace. Feel for allowing the support of the legs and pelvis to hold the work that you're doing to build a warrior's heart. Having the courage to go inside, knowing that you have the ability to heal. Sensing the other warriors in the space, building their heart with you. Continuing to let your roots go down into the earth energetically. And then from here, when you're ready, coming back to arms, giving up the arms a shake and letting them relax down. And we're gonna do some gentle spinal warm up. So just starting, thinking of a furling in fern, tucking the chin and letting the upper back round. We're gonna keep building into more areas of the spine. Pull the chin back and look up, blinking, allowing yourself to take in what is in front and above. And then same thing, tucking chin, furling into the upper back, and then pull the chin back, press up through the crown. We'll start to take it into the middle back, so tucking chin like a furling in wave of the ocean, going a bit halfway, bending the knees to keep you out of any pain in the low back. I just noticed is a good move for me. And then come on up. Lift the heart, tuck the chin, reaching up. You could bring the palms facing forward and then furling in like a fern or a wave. And just humbly, if you're like me and it feels like you're rolling a concrete wave, humbly being with what your tissues show you. Or maybe you feel like a wave and that's awesome. And then take it further, letting yourself come into whatever degree of forward bending at your own pace. Feeling aware of the pelvis and the legs as you work into the spine here, furling in wave, kick into the ground, getting a sense of your spine coming into extension and flexion as you furl in. And then as you're ready, coming back to Tadasana, taking a moment to uptake, what did that do? And then we'll come into interlacing the hands. Give the elbows a pull, but keeping the interlace, will keep your hands there. And then just beginning with neck, looking side to side, coming into your axial rotation, and then slowly letting it come into the upper back. Keep the hips facing forward for a few rounds. Inhale to center, exhale. Getting information about your range of motion. As much as possible, letting the breath be even and steady. I did not coach this, but letting go of the 4-part breathing, coming back to basic moves of Forrest yoga, inhaling a soft, wide breath. Begin to let the lumbar spine come with you in your twist to whatever degree is the best for you. And then from there, come back to center, take a moment. We'll come into reaching the arms up, getting a hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Let the feet stay heavy and rooted. Inhale, lifting the ribs and then coming up and over. You could stand up against the wall to really see that you're in lateral flexion. You could keep the ribs pinned towards the wall. And then taking some time here, keep breathing, keep standing into your strong legs. Active hands and feet, so you're running energy through your limbs. When you're ready, coming back up, switching sides, whichever side you didn't do yet. As best you can, keep the front hip point and the back hip point in one line, lift ribs, reaching up and over. And then from there, come on up, let the arms come down. Option to come into the next pose using a wall or not. So we're gonna come into horse stance. A wall can be a really nice way to feel into the broadening of the ribs that is so essential to building warrior's heart, as well as feeling into staying present to the pelvis and legs. So either way, step the feet wide, turn the toes out, and then come on down to your degree. So you're going towards 90 degrees, and of course, it's all a completely personal practice. So see where your spot is, and we're gonna come into some hand passes. Using this in a way to create your own personal energetic space. So pulling up through the midline, pulling up earth energy through the roots. Exhale. And then just staying with easy, deep breathing here. In whatever way feels unique to you, to sense that you're opening to the above and also creating a healthy boundary. Pulling in the energy from the furthest reaches of the universe in through the crown, and washing your brain, washing your throat into thymus, the T cells, killer cells to increase immunity, press forward, exhaling deeply. And then staying here, feeling for this, pushing out in a way that helps you to identify your strength. Clear your space, being able to open your heart, but also stay where your boundary is. And then pulling in, feeding your heart, allowing yourself to be nurtured in the horizontal space of this community. And then pressing out to the side, same thing, pushing out, sensing your ability to use your strength to create healthy separation. And then staying here, keep finding your feet, sensing the energy you're building in the lower body as a way to support the work you're doing in your heart. And then from there, pulling energy in, feeding your heart, and then exhale, rooting down. Taking a few breaths here, lifting the ribs up away from the top crest of the hip. And then from there, gently straighten the legs, feel into the sweeping out and up, and then pause in your 5-pointed star, sensing your heart shining out again in a way that protects you and resources you. And then we'll come through another round. So reaching up, pulling energy in through the midline, deep breath in, and then exhale, pressing up. Finding the balance of active hands that are also receptive. Relaxing through the crown, pulling in, healing to your heart, through your brain, and then pressing forward. Pausing here. Playing with your edge, with your horse stance, maybe coming a little lower, maybe dialing it back. Getting into that shaky spot, feeding that viscous heat to your heart. Pulling into the heart, feeding your heart, and then pressing out. Use your strength. Pausing here. Check out what's going on with the head as much as you can, relaxing eyes and skull bones on top of the spine, pulling into the midline, and then sending your love down into the earth, and sensing this giving and receiving of reciprocity as you work into this rooting posture. And then same thing, straighten the legs, feel for absorbing what you just created as you come into your 5-pointed star, pause. Sensing this opening up. And then come on down through, we'll come into twisting horse before we head back to a seat. Gathering energy into heart all the way through to the belly. Bring the hands onto the quads. And then from here, bring the torso forward and to the right. Slide the left hand to the adductor insertion where the inner thigh goes close into the hip point. Lengthen the ribs away from the top crest of the hip. You can make some really nice space in the back here, possibly. And again, you can use the wall to see, am I taking that hip with me or not? Relax the neck. Get empty at the end of the breath, pulling the belly back, finding that sweet spot of efforting without over-efforting. And if you have a little bit of stickiness there, you can press the thigh into the hand into the thigh, and then let that go to create an active release. And we'll take it to the other side. So take the left hand onto the quad, right hand goes to the adductor insertion, pressing down and away, and then play with lengthening the ribs away from the hips. Keep contact with your feet. 2 more high quality breaths here. Come on back to center. We'll do 1 more 5-pointed star, sensing your warrior's heart. To what degree can you find the sweet spot of letting your courage shine out, your bravery? And where does this give you information about where you have parts of you that need more nurturing? From there, come back through the midline with the hands. Point the toes forward, and then either heel toe or step, however you come back to Tadasana. Taking a moment here to breathe. And then a rule of thumb we'll work with here is frontal hip points back over ankle to your degree, front hip point and back hip point align. And we'll keep revisiting that, but sense it here before we head to the floor. And then go ahead and come on down to the floor. We're coming into a seat. And we're going to come into seated side bend. And we'll do it in Baddha Konasana. So feet together, knees wide. It's fine to sit up on a thing here. If it feels tight in the low back or the hips, you can hop up onto a pillow or a block. And then from here, just finding out, is that front hip point and back hip point in the same plane? And then taking the arm out. If you're up on a bolster like me, grabbing a block might be useful to bring the floor up to you. And then from there, lift the ribs and sensing where you can get into the intercostal muscles. So these muscles that wrap in between the ribs, and when there's a stress response, a trauma response, they get gluey and they stop moving. So see where you can place your mind in there. Am I getting those ribs to move any amount? Take the left shoulder and shoulder blade away from the ear and then play with your gaze and see where the most struggle-free point is. Keep the sit bones planted. And we'll do some shoulder flossing here. So option to use a block to add a little bit of gripping. And if it's a cork block, you'll add a little weight. You can also do this without, but reaching over and down. And maybe the hand goes behind the back. It doesn't have to. Keep going. Sensing the limbs as levers into the heart. So heart and lung meridians getting work done here. And if there's any amount of a pleasant quality to the breath, using that as a resource to connect you into your awareness of what is basically good in this moment, which can be a very hard thing to locate at certain times. When you're ready, stay in neck release. You could rest that hand on a block or hover it or bring it behind the back, staying with what is going on in the side of the neck. When the neck can let go, the brain can interact with the bravery and the truth of the heart more fluidly. Look down, tip of the nose towards the upper chest, and then give your head over to your hand, massaging into the brow point. Put your head back up. Keep breathing. Take it to the other side. So maybe you grab your block, lift your ribs, keep the front ribs somewhat knitted in and down so you're really getting into the side. It can be really helpful to use your hand to say, am I getting that? And then any amount of, is there pleasantness in the breath, feeding that to your warrior's heart. So you're resourcing your heart with your presence and your breath. And we'll do some shoulder flossing here, with or without a prop. Reaching over and down, sensing the air moving around your limb as you're going through space. Honoring the range of motion that you have today. So you're working honestly and compassionately at your edges. Exhaling completely, sensing the belly's moving towards the spine when you do that. And then when you're ready, staying in your neck release, using the warmth perhaps that you may have gotten from that to create warm releases where you need them in the neck. At any time, using your healing touch to help that process. Right shoulder and shoulder blade is moving down. Sensing the passageway of the nostrils as you're inhaling, breathing right into your brain, and then look down. Massaging into your brow point, wherever you feel drawn, put your head back up. Take a feeling breath here. Sitting down to rise up, and then we'll go ahead and work into some forward stuff. So come on down to your back, grab your rolled up prop if you have it. And begin to see if you can make contact with the back ribs. Getting any supports that you know you need under shoulders, under your head. And begin, hands could be useful. Am I breathing into the back and the side ribs? Grab onto your roll if you have it. Otherwise, you could do inner legs towards each other. So we're going to do twisting abs with the mat. Grab your prop, reach the legs up. If you have tightness in the back of the leg, you can bend the knees. You want knees over ASIS, knees over hip point. Interlace your hands behind your head. Moving the shoulders down, elbow tips, strong reach up, like you're trying to reach the ceiling with your elbows. You could take a little rocking back and forth here. Inhale across back bottom ribs, squeeze your prop. Curl the tailbone up, and then on exhale, both elbows reach to the right thigh. It's a small twist, low belly engages. Inhaling, come back to center, squeeze prop. Curl the tailbone up, and then on exhale, both elbows reach to the left. Low abs engaged, jaw relaxed. Inhale to center, squeeze the prop like you're trying to send it forward, so you're internally rotating the thighs. Lift the tailbone up, and then on exhale, both elbows reach all the way up. Low belly pulls in. Come down a couple inches. We're going to go through 2 more rounds. Inhale here. Squeeze prop. Lift the tailbone up. Exhaling, both elbows reach to the right as you can. Get off the right shoulder. Belly to spine. Inhale to center. Squeeze. Curl the tailbone. Exhale. Elbows reach up. Low belly pulls in. Keep reaching up through the inner ankles. Come down a couple inches. Inhale. Squeeze the prop. Curl the tailbone. Exhale. Elbows reach to the left. Low belly pulls in. Deep, nourishing breath coming back to center. Squeeze the prop. Curl the tailbone. On exhale, both elbows reach right. Low belly pulls in. Inhale to center. Squeeze. Curl pubic bone. Exhale, elbows reach left. Low belly pulls in. Inhale to center. Squeeze the prop. Curl the tailbone up. And then exhale, both elbows reach up. Make space in the shoulders. Low belly pulls in. Head and chest comes down. Place your prop to the side. And then either knees together, feet a bit wider, or feet together, knees wider. Take a few breaths there. And then from here, we're going to come into something called tadpole. So you can put your feet on the wall for this and adapt it in any fashion. So it's half frog, half straddle. So you can start by bringing the knees right up over the hips. Come back to your interlace, but switch up the sides. Bring the knees away from each other till you're in frog. Stop at your very first edge. So no pushing here. Knees aligned to frontal hips, feet are active. Take a deep breath in across your back ribs. Exhale, curl the pubic bone towards the navel, elbows reach up, left leg straightens out into a straddle. Low belly pulls in, head and chest comes down a little bit, feet come back to frog, inhale. Exhale, curl pubic bone towards navel, elbows reach up, right leg straightens out, move the thigh bone away from the hip, kick. Use your strength, low belly pulls in, inhale to frog. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up, left leg straightens, kick through the inner leg and the outer leg, low belly pulls in, inhale to center. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up, right leg straightens, low belly pulls in. Last side here, inhale. Exhale, curl pubic bone, elbows reach up, left leg straightens out, low belly pulls in. And then from there, come back through frog, gently place the head down, gently help the knees back together. You can take a moment, breathing knees to chest or put the feet back down. And then let yourself uptake that heat that you get and feed it into your heart. Breathing into those places that need healing. Bridge pose. So start with feet either right underneath the knees or scoot them a little bit forward if that gives you more space in the front of the hips. Let the arms relax by torso, palms facing up. And then from here, inhale across the back bottom ribs. And then exhale, come into your bridge. So depending on what is going on for you today, there's so many different ways to focus this, working on finding your legs, finding out where you can put more rooting into your feet. Are you rooting through the inner edge of the foot, outer edge of the foot, a heel? And then from there, seeing where you can send the thigh bones forward, breathing into the pelvis. And that may be your focus. If you want to focus more into spinal extension, you can press the elbows down to lift the chest. And just see where you feel drawn in your bridge today to build your warrior's heart. Calling on the energy of the earth to come up through the body into the bones, building your sense of belonging, building your sense of being loved. And we'll come into one round of Uddiyana here, relaxing completely to fill all the way up with a deep breath. Pause at the top, exhale everything out. Get empty, keep the breath out, pull the belly back and then lowering down. Completely relax the belly and take an inhale. Take a moment here to see what information you can get about the work you're doing with your warrior's heart. Breathing in a way that increases your bravery, increases your truthfulness. Roll onto one side, come up to tabletop. From here, finding out where you can get a sense of your spine in this position, sensing how the limbs support your awareness of the spine. And then from here, taking a soft, wide breath, and then lifting from back bottom ribs, letting the rest of the spine come along. Inhaling back through center, and then finding your two extension and flexion options at your own pace. So coming through cat and cow in a way that helps you to find where you need breath support, find and honor what your range of motion is so that you can honestly and compassionately work with your spine. And then when you're ready, come back through your long spine. And from here, bring your awareness to your sit bones. If it's useful, you could place your hand there. So right where the hamstrings come up and meet the low glute, inhale. And then move the sit bones back towards the calves. You might want to bring the toes together. As you do that, bring the ear to the shoulder. Come back through center, inhale. And then feel for the pelvis moving through space, ear to shoulder. So you're working on lateral flexion in the cervical spine as you're warming up the connection to the hips as well. Feel how you're hydrating the tissues, you're gently warming up the joints in the spine. When you are ready, come back through neutral. You could use, it's always nice to use props. You could use your roll to your inner thighs if you can still keep a stable foundation. We'll come into some more lateral flexion here. Inhale. Light squeeze on the prop. You can sit the hips back a bit as you bring your gaze towards the left baby toe. Inhale back through center. You could keep the toes moving towards each other. Looking to the right. Inhale. Exhale. Look back towards the left baby toe. So what you're looking for is lateral flexion in the spine. If the prop makes it confusing, you can let it go. And when that's complete, releasing your prop if you have it, come back to your tabletop. We're gonna come into half dolphin with the palms up. So elbows come down, wrap around the triceps, and kick into the ground with the tops of the shins as you also press the arms into the ground through the elbows. Bring the palms facing up. Really get a sense of, you can make fists and then open, doing that a few times. And then to your degree, those thumbs may not touch down, no problem. Press the ground away with the whole forearm. And then see where you can breathe into the space between the shoulder blades. Keep pressing the ground away. Use your strength to turn on chest muscles so you're building support for your whole heart here. Maybe you just gaze right to the mat. Maybe you let the head hang. See what feels better in your neck. And then from there, come back through tabletop. Take a feeling breath. If you want to use a prop, we're going to do some thread the needle. So come back to your pressing the ground away like you're trying to make prints in wet soil. Keep the right hand pressing, pull with the left, reach up, and then dial it through. If you're using your prop, tap down, and then come in and out of that a few times. Honoring your range of motion. Maybe it's a very small twist. And then when you're ready, coming back to reaching up and taking some improvised movement here, seeing how does that shoulder, how does the wing of your shoulder blade, how does the back of the heart want to express here? Release, take a moment. Take a feeling breath. And we'll take that to the other side. So plant the shins and the tops of the feet down. Grip with your prop if you're using it. Press away from you with your strength and your left hand. Pull with your right. Reach up. Feel the heart being given this nutrition of all these different types of movement. Tap through. Come back up. And then when you're ready, reaching up, taking some improvised movement. Let the breath lead. Let the body follow the breath. And then place your prop down. Take another feeling breath here. Let's come into our first down dog. So from tabletop, hands come forward. Batting hands with distance. Press the ground away, push. When you're ready, curl the toes under. Become aware of your sit bones. I've been working with imagining the sit bones moving away from each other, and it's been a back healing move for me, so you might want to try that. Imagine the front hip points going further back, deepening the hip hinge. And see what starts to happen here. So one of the things we're doing energetically in down dog is creating reciprocity with the earth, belonging to the earth. Inhale, pulling energy up through the palms, through the heart. Exhale, kicking through the legs. When you are ready, walk the feet to the hands and the hands to the feet. Uttanasana. Again, deep hip hinge, front of the points back over the ankles. Hands can be gently holding on to, massaging the neck, holding inner elbows, hands on blocks, just a couple of options. Either way, assessing how the power in the legs and the pelvis can keep supporting the work you're doing with your heart. From there, take your thumbs to the frontal hip point and then press just below the front hip point. Engage the low abs. Keep the knees as far back over the ankles as you can. Come on up to stand. And so coming back to Tadasana. Finding your feet again, bringing the hands into contact. Inhale, lift the ribs, feel for the salutation towards the sun, offering your heart, and then exhale, bowing. Inhale, left leg steps back into lunge. Pressing the ground away to turn on the leg strength, and then from that, rebounding up. Active hands. Take a few breaths here, so you're working into the stretch in the quads, the activation of the glutes. Bring the hands down and step back in a plank. And you can work plank with knees down for the first one, great idea. Shoulders away from ears, core is engaged, feet are dynamically pressing into the ground, lower down, keeping the torso in one plane. Lift each leg, moving the thigh bones back, rolling inner thighs towards ceiling, and we'll come through some cobra push-ups. So hands could be either right under shoulders or forward or wider. So play with that. Let's do 4. So using this to keep exploring the range of motion in the spine. Solid reach through the legs, curl pubic bone towards navel, pull in a way that prioritizes feeling connection and nourishing movement. Telescope the ribs, which means lengthen the ribs away from the hips. Hands under shoulders. Press the ground away, come back into down dog. Really coming back to, are you using your strength to press the ground away? Do you feel where your sit bones are in space? Perhaps sensing moving sit bones away from each other. From here, left leg is coming forward, lunge. Any extra padding you need? Doing your investigation into front hip point and back hip point, lifting pubic bone, and then from that stability, feeding your heart. Lifting up, adjusting the arms into your variation. And then framing the front foot, great place to use your blocks. Come on up. Front hip points back, engage through the core. Let's come up with a flat back. Lift your ribs, opening the front plane of the body. Hands come to touch. Let's come right into the next round. Sweep up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right leg comes back. Pressing into both feet, lifting the pubic bone. And then from here, hold on to the left hip. Engage the low part of the right glute, reaching up and over. And just play with any micro movements that give you more information. Knitting the front ribs in. Can you find more of those intercostal muscles so you can patiently work on unwinding tension in your heart, making more space for your heart to live and breathe. From there, come back up, back the hips up a bit. We'll take it into a twist. So both hips in one line, 2 90-degree angles. Lift your chest, lift your ribs, come forward. Same options we usually have, either elbow outside the thigh. I like to make a fist and then blanket it, or opening the arms. If that left hip flings out, you can just tuck it back there and then see how can you use this as range of motion therapy. How can you use this as nutrition? When you are ready, unwind, step back into your plank. This time, choose knees up or knees down. Lowering down, press the ground away the whole time. Reach back through your legs, and let's do some shoulder shrugs here. So legs solidly reach back, and then lift legs. Lift chest, hover the hands, about 6 inches away from shoulders, 6 inches off of the ground. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. 1 more. Inhale, broaden upper back. Exhale, squeeze shoulders, shoulder blades, elbow tips. Reach through the legs. And let's take a few breaths in, crocodile. Plant your active hands onto the earth. Coming back to this resourcing process, can you tease out in this moment where your access to basic goodness is? Relaxing the belly onto its home, the earth. Making a choice to belong, to do this brave work. Hands under shoulders, come through tabletop and back into downward facing dog. From your down dog, step the right leg forward. Feel into the power of pelvis and legs. And then from there, assessing the optimal alignment of the pelvis, front and back hip point, lifting pubic bone. Kick the ground away and then sweep up. Can you find any amount more softness in the upper body as a result of optimal alignment in the legs and pelvis? Hold on to the right hip, lift the ribs, reach up and over, keep the left hip rooted, use the low glute, use the hamstring insertion. Play with any micro movements that help you to get in there a bit differently. Come back up, back the hips up for twisting lunge. Make 2 90-degree angles with the legs. Actively press into the ground. Find this home-based press. Find all the tissues in the whole hand rooting together to help find the chest muscles engage. Lift the ribs. Come forward. Decide either grabbing the elbow or opening the arms. Blocks are a great tool here. And then see where you can place your mind into your spine. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, rotating any amount. Bring the back of the head towards the upper left-hand corner of the mat. Unwind your twist and then step up to the top of the mat. Come on up. Lift your imaginary chi ball or very real chi ball Bring the hands to touch. Chair pose. So general optimal alignment is front hip points back as far as they can go. So you're going for over ankles, you're going for knees over ankles, hips back. Let's start with being forward and parallel to the earth. Reaching arms forward or bending elbows. Using this to feel your back body. And then come on up any amount into your chair. Check out the tripod of the foot. Are you getting weight into the whole thing there? Twisting chair, hands come to touch. Telescope ribs, and then twist to the right. So block is a great thing here. Again, you could wrap the elbow outside the thigh or right hand up, left hand on the block. If the arm is up, feel for moving the shoulder girdle towards the ceiling. Take the back of the head towards the upper left-hand corner of the mat, and then come back through center. We'll take it to the other side. Hands come to touch, turn on the chest muscles, plant the hand onto the block. Opening chest, holding onto the hip is also awesome adaptation, or reaching up. Continue to see where you can find this soft, wide breath, expanding the ribs every time. And then come back to center, straighten the legs, fold forward. Inhale into flat back, so hands could come to shins. Spinal extension, heart reaches forward like a cobra pose, and then step back into your plank. Same choice point, knees up or knees down, lowering down. And we'll come into a version of locust. Reach back strongly through the legs. Hands at tented fingertips. Inhale, telescope ribs forward, and then look underneath the left arm. Check out your feet, root your feet. Come back through center, take it to the other side. You could bring the palms flat if it feels tweaky in your wrist. Come side to side, adapt in any fashion. And then when you're complete, let's come back into crocodile, lower down. Forearms plant, hands plant. Press the ground away and then soften. Hands under shoulders, press back into down dog. And then from here, left leg is stepping forward, warrior two. So alignment is front heel to back arch. You can pick up the back heel and spin it out. And then stack the ribs right over hips. Reach through both arms. Option, you can either look over the front middle finger, or you could keep just looking forward if that's better for your neck. We'll come into kite hawk in warrior two. Inhale, palms up, shoulders down, shoulder blades contract down the back. Exhale, roll the arms forward, broaden the upper back, let the spine flex, round. Inhale, spinal extension, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. You can look up or look forward, see what feels better in your neck. And then come in between these two versions of what you can do with your spine at your own pace. You can bend the elbows if it helps you to get into the heart a bit differently, using this as a way to massage into where your heart needs this work. When you're back at the version of palms up, shoulders down, keep the arms there, activate the feet, allowing yourself to receive from this beautiful day, at least in the greater Boston area, receiving the sunlight. Let the arms come down, straighten the front leg, let yourself drink in the viscous heat you get from those warrior poses. Toes face forward, let's set up the other side. Whichever side you didn't do yet, pivot the toes to the short edge of the mat. Pick up the back heel and spin it out. If you have the mobility, it's also fine to have it parallel to the short edge of the mat. Kick through your legs, find your warrior's legs. Reach in a way that expresses your warrior's heart. Keep breathing. Sensing those who are walking this path with you as a way to encourage yourself to breathe when the nervous system and the trauma response, the stress response wants to freeze you up. Coming into kite hawk, palms up, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. On exhale, roll the arms forward. Let the spine round forward. Breathe into the back of the heart. And then alternate between those two at your own pace. Spinal flexion as you roll forward. Spinal extension as you bring the shoulders down and open up the front of heart. Honoring both the lunar heart, the back of heart, and the front of heart, the solar heart. When you're back to palms up and shoulders, shoulder blades down, stay. Actively kick through your legs, ground yourself, receiving as you inhale from the furthest reaches of the universe. Feeding that to your warrior's heart. Let the arms relax down, straighten the front leg, pivot the toes forward. Hold on to the pelvis, press down, lift your ribs. And we'll do some arm variations here. So coming into archer warrior and standing. So legs stay solidly working. Let's do left arm up, right arm down. So this is where you can grab a hold of your strap or clothing. Wrap the left bicep towards the ear and reach the elbow up to the sky. Take a breath into the right shoulder and contract the shoulder and shoulder blade down. Keep reaching in both directions. And then we'll take that to the other side, releasing the arms, perhaps giving the arms a shake or taking a pause in stillness. Let's do right arm up. Spin the left palm down so you're internally rotating. And then sensing your arms in this opposition, one elbow reaching up, one elbow reaching down, using opposition as an ally to make space. Wrap the right bicep towards the ear, reach up for the ceiling. Keep breathing into what you find living in your shoulders. And then move the left shoulder and shoulder blade down. Gently release the bind. Again, take a listening breath. Often when you come out of the bind, there's a lot that can happen in the tissues, in the energy body. And then from here, let's come into a forward fold. Press down onto the top, press to the pelvis, lift the ribs, and come forward. Great place to use your props. Either letting the head go completely, looking towards the navel, or look towards the floor. Walk the hands over to the right. And you could keep hands on a prop, or you could take the left hand, grab onto the right ankle or calf, lower leg. And you could play with moving the elbow towards the floor a bit to keep assessing your range of motion and the scapular mobility of the left shoulder blade. Deep, deep breathing into left intercostal muscles. Move the left ribs towards the left. And then we'll take that to the other side. Come back through center. Walk over to the right, stage one, stay right here. That could be plenty. Or getting a hold of the lower leg, teasing out the tissue by reaching the right elbow towards the ground a few times. And then place your mind into your right ribs, moving your right ribs towards the right. And then releasing, taking yourself back to center for some integrating breath there. And then letting yourself gently find your way onto your back. Keeping the energy of the flank stretch, the forward bend, as you set yourself up either for knees to chest or coming right into Shavasana. See what feels better. As you come into the sanctuary of Shavasana, allowing yourself to put the healthy use of anger as a protective guardian to allow for your rest. And allowing whatever elements would really nourish your warrior's heart into that boundary. Breathing in a way that lights up that space. Letting yourself let go to the degree that you are able to. Letting yourself be held by your home, the earth, by love, by the intention of this practice. Beginning to add some breath to your inhale. Allowing yourself to touch the places in your heart with care, with your inhale. Fascinating upon this skill that we learn in yoga. And then taking all the time you need to transition back onto one side and to a seat, breathing in this way that you're touching yourself with care as you do this. And then feel the difference of the energies of the horizontal plane back to the vertical plane as you arrive. If you like, bringing the hands over the heart. And if you have some extra today, sending some of that healing to those who we practice with and beyond into our neighborhoods, our city, our country, our world. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your practice today.
Thank you.
Good to see you, April.
Good to see you too. It's so nice to see everybody.